Hey, you guys! Dork. Welcome back, Toy Shop Fab. Today we are working on my death trap, the Drift Trike. For those of you who don't know, it has a Predator 212. I have since built this little engine with a 20 thousandths longer billet rod, 30 thousandths smaller head gasket, a really big camshaft, 26-pound valve springs, 24 millimeter flat slide carburetor, and a homemade exhaust system that was originally meant for a pit bike. I just made up my own little header for it and all that stuff. Thing sounds really, really awesome. It's loud, it's ear piercing. And the last time I took this out, me, that guy right there, and his older brother Jake, we did some top speed runs. Each of us 10 miles an hour apart. Seth over there getting the 35, I think it was what it was, 35, 36. Jakey got the 45, and I pushed this thing to 56, just over 56 miles an hour. And at that point, I was pretty sure I could get this thing to go faster if I had a longer stretch of road. So, today, we are going to be installing a catch can because all I have here is just that breather there, and it likes to spit oil everywhere because that really big camshaft makes a lot of crankcase pressure. So we're going to install a catch can to catch all that and to kind of help with reaching a faster top speed. I have got this guy right here. You can see there's the intake. It's ported pretty good. Bunch of little dimples. I was messing around with it. Here's our exhaust. I'll make sure to try to put this other head side by side. I've already gone ahead and cleaned up the bottom side there. Blew everything out. So exhaust ports opened up, intakes opened up, and if I could get a flashlight, I will show you our path going down to that valve. I think that jumped out at him. All right, you all right, bud?
Yeah, it moved.
Okay, I'm sure it did. Anyways, so there is our intake port. So you can see how much more that has been opened up. Well, you will once I get the other head next to it, but little dimples, a nice clean straight shot. That is much, much larger than a factory Predator intake port. So we're going to be adding that to this little engine to help me get above 56 miles an hour. So I'm going to set you up in my stand here, get you a bird's eye view of this engine. I'm going to go ahead and grab some parts, start tearing this head off this engine here, getting it cleaned up, and getting our other head installed on this trike. So here we go. All right, head is off. I've already gone ahead and coated our head gasket with some copper spray there. Just put it right back on. Here is our piston here. You can see it had a little bit of carbon buildup, but for the most part, not too bad. Everything came apart really nice. Everything's still fairly clean. This thing does not have a lot of hours on it. I did a video where I built that engine, and then we put it on here, and then it's not very many hours. So, but heads off, surface clean. Head gasket has been coated in copper spray gasket. Got this from O'Reilly's. Pretty spendy stuff, actually, so be warned. All right, now I've got the factory head that we had on this engine off, sitting next to our ported head, and I think you're going to be kind of A little surprised on how much different each one of these ports is. So here is our factory one, and if you can see down in there, you can see how it's kind of closed up just a little bit, right? And then you come over here to this guy, you can see how much more open that is. So it's got a lot more flow. Transitions are a little softer, they're not as sharp. Go ahead and see what our exhaust ports look like. So there is the factory head exhaust port there. And then here is the one that I opened up. Definitely much larger, a little smoother. So should definitely get some more flow out of this guy. And should definitely help me break 56 miles an hour. So it said this ported head was on top of a stock 212 with 26-pound valve spring, stock rod, stock everything else. I got to ride it twice, I think. And then this guy sent the rod out the top of the block. I think the only thing that stopped it was the fact that the gas can was still mounted to the top there. And there was a lot of pieces, so. But we'll go ahead and get this. This guy is all cleaned up. Come on over here. Set this guy in place. Come on now. Quit goofing off. All right. Do this one. There we go. Set him in place there. I'm going to grab our head bolts. Snug them down. Let's see here. Head bolts. What's the torque?
17 foot-pounds or 204 inch-pounds.
Did that sound rehearsed? I think it sounded rehearsed. I did have him look it up for me, though, because I can't remember stuff like that all the time. So there you have it. 17 foot-pounds, 204 inch-pounds. There's another little guy coming up to hang out. Coming to see what kind of noise or what I'm working on, right? Is it a toy? Is it something everybody can play with? Or is it another one of those things right there? No. I like to have fun on all these things. All kinds, right? You have fun on anything. Matter of fact, it's not as expensive when you blow these things up versus blowing those things up. But I will tell you, I think the Predator engine is about 100 and I think they're over $100. I think they're around $150 now. They used to be a little bit cheaper, and then I guess I think they were, you know, you start buying a lot of them for go-karts and stuff like that, and they work really, really well. So they're a couple bucks more than they used to be. No big deal. But head is sitting in place. Head bolts are started by hand. They are 12 millimeter, and we're going to torque them down to 17 foot-pounds. Then we'll go ahead and get my intake manifold put on, which happens to be, it's around here. Oh, it's over there. So we'll get the intake on too, and that's just one of these eBay intake manifolds. I cut the end off and used a large piece of hose for the Mikuni 24 millimeter flat slide, because I think that one comes with one of those, comes in a kit, has like a, I don't know what carburetor it is, but it is eBay. I think I paid with that and the carburetor it came with was like $30. Matter of fact, this is a Mikuni knockoff carburetor. I think I paid $24 for that on eBay. Head gasket thickness. If you go on eBay, just look up Predator 212 head gaskets. This one came in a pack of 3, and these ones are 10 thousandths thickness. Factory head gaskets are about 41 thousandths, I believe. I know they're up there. So just by doing a head gasket, you know, that's right. That's what we did on the other one too. But just going to a thinner stainless head gasket there bumps compression 30 thousandths. Definitely get a little more power out of it. But anyways, head bolts are on. Get you back in the stand there. We'll get that head torqued down to 17. And then we'll go ahead and install our rockers and the valve or the lash caps on top of the springs. Well, I'll come back to you when we get there. But right now, we'll get this thing torqued down, and we'll be right back. All right, got our head torqued down to 17 foot-pounds, or 204 inch-pounds, as Seth likes to put it. Go ahead and put our little push rods in. Now, if you're wondering, or this is all new to you, stock factory push rods are the same length. It is a good idea, though, to try to keep them where they were at, okay? That way, I mean, they've been wearing on that lifter, they wear on that rocker. So it's always kind of a good practice to make sure to put everything back where it came from. Then what you want to do, we'll get those installed. So our push rods are installed in our lifters, in the cups of the lifters. Make sure those are in. And before you want to put your rockers on, you want to install these lash caps here. And I'll get you down here and show you what I'm talking about before we put the rockers on. But these guys go on top of the springs. They help keep the retainers in place. And it gives something for those rockers to beat up on. And they're not mashing the heck out of these stems up here. So go ahead and set these right here real quick. And then I'm going to grab you, get you in here, show you where they're at. So here's our push rods, I said. Get those in there. Grab my flashlight so we can look down inside there and you can see what I'm talking about. So you see it sits in that cup right there. I'll pull this out. And then we'll get down in there. It just falls into place. How lucky is that? It never works. Okay, but anyways. There we go. Off to the side. So now you can see down inside there where that push rod sits. You want to make sure that push rod sits in that cup down there. If you don't, and you get it kicked off to the side here, it's never going to work. It's going to beat up on stuff. So we'll get that guy sat back into place. And you can see it is sitting in the cup of our lifter down there. It is so hard to do this. There we go. Perfect. Now these little guys here, those are our lash caps. These guys right here. We grab the magnet real quick. There. Okay. Little caps. You can see they sit in this hole here. Helps keep these cups in place. These help keep them from sliding off, so it helps retain our springs. And then our rocker pushes down on top of these guys. Protects the valve stem as well. It doesn't beat up on it. So now we're going to go ahead and get our rockers installed. What you want to do is break this little jam nut up here because we are changing stuff. Break this jam nut to 9mm, and then kind of just back this guy off. Give yourself some room to wiggle around and make sure to put this pin in place. We're going to set him up. Make sure to put our push rod in the cup here as well. You get that off center, it doesn't end well. So you're going to mash some stuff up. So we'll get that guy, we'll get the push rod set into place. We're going to grab this pin, and it has a C-clip on one side. It has another C-clip on this side. It'll help retain it once we get it slid into place. I'll go ahead and slide this one in, just so I can show you. Sometimes you gotta work on it a little bit. You may have to turn the engine over just a little bit, just to find a loose spot. There we go. On the camshaft that isn't pushing up on your push rod. So get that in there. Same on this side. 9mm nut. Break that free. Back your adjustment screw all the way out. Give yourself some room. And at this point, I'll show you. Get you down here. We got our intake rocker set in place. It's loose because it isn't adjusted. But what you can do now to help put your exhaust rocker on is just slowly pull your pull string here, and you're going to watch the intake as you come around. Once it starts to open, just like that, once your intake starts to open, your exhaust should be completely closed. You're on the base circle of that little camshaft, which now you can grab our rocker, make sure you get the cup, on the push rod, set that little guy into place just like so. See, and I can do this one-handed. I'm going to show you. That's how easy it is once you get the intake pushed down and you know you're on the base circle. See, that guy goes into place. We got a little bit of play here. So we need to adjust these guys. And now since this intake is opening, you can run this guy down here. Make sure your adjustment nut is backed all the way off. Give yourself some room. Just till it touches. There you go. Then we're going to take our feeler gauge, wherever it is I may have put that thing. Sometimes I'd lose my head if it was not attached to my shoulder. So put you in a stand real quick. Give me a sec. Let me grab my feeler gauge. I'll be right back. All right, found my feeler gauge. Now I'm going to set the valve lash on both these guys at 10 thousandths. So you can see here, 0.010, 10 thousandths. And what you do is you back off, make sure that this guy is all the way backed off. And this is your adjuster screw right here. What you do, it's a little difficult one-handed, but you get this in between that adjuster screw and our lash cap down there. So you can see what we got going on. And you can take that, set your feeler gauge in there, and turn your adjuster in so you got a nice drag on your feeler gauge. Once you got a nice little drag on your feeler gauge, take a crescent or a wrench, or if you got something that's that size, but I've got that big old thing here. What you're going to do is you're going to hold the adjuster still, take your 9mm wrench, and snug up this nut right here, locking your valve adjustment into place. And then what you do is you rotate your engine over till your exhaust starts to close and adjust your intake rocker in the same fashion. So get you in the stand, go ahead and finish assembling the top end of this head, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, valve lash is adjusted, but I just thought of something I should probably tell you guys about, just in case you haven't done any of this before. Don't get tricked by this. Watch the intake, watch the exhaust. So you can see the exhaust is opening, and there we go. Here is our intake is opening, intake is closing, and then you're going to watch the exhaust. Oop, see, it just blipped just a little bit. That is the compression release to help turn this guy over. And now we're up against our exhaust lobe on the cam. So intake opening, intake closing, watch our exhaust valve. Yep, just a light little blip there. And then it comes up against compression. Or there you go, boom. There is our exhaust. So intake, compression, and you'll see the exhaust blip just a little bit. There we go. So exhaust on the camshafts, it has a little tiny lobe. It's like a little arm, which it's spring loaded. When you go to start it, it releases just a little bit of compression to help you start it. If that wasn't there, these things, especially if you bump the compression, they're a little hard. You will pull, let's just say you'll pull the string out of the little handle, okay? That's what's going to happen. So when you're doing your valve adjustments, be aware that the exhaust side has an extra little lobe on it to help release compression. Another thing I didn't show you too is, let's get right here. So you can see these little C-clips right here. Basically, you just put it back over the groove of the pin, get it lined up, grab yourself a little flathead screwdriver, and just kind of push it into place. Doesn't take a whole lot of pressure to do so. They usually just snap right on it because there isn't really much pushing against it. So, but anyways, rockers are on, valves are adjusted, heads torqued. Go ahead and put our aftermarket intake manifold on, get our exhaust put back on, get the spark plug installed. Then we'll get this thing on the ground, fired up, just to see how it sounds with this new head. So get you guys back in the stand, time lapse, put this together, and then we'll fire it up. All right, engine is all put back together. I've gone ahead and already mounted our catch can. And it's just a simple process. It's a piece of 1 or 2 inch by like 1/8 inch flat bar. I drilled a couple holes in there. So here's what we got. Just a piece of flat bar there. I bent, drilled a couple holes. That way that guy can bolt there, and then drilled and tapped the frame as you guys saw there on the video, and then ran the hoses. We took the breather, or our little breather that was in here, out, ran a new piece of hose from our fitting that's in the block to the outside of the catch can because it skips the baffle right here. I figure, and this part is just wide open. So if it fills up, it'll drain back. But for the most part, this is not in the baffle. So it should help keep the oil from this breather. And then this one just goes back to our valve cover there. Basic little setup. And then this is just an AN, like a -6 AN separator that I drilled through and put a bolt in it. That's it. Just to hold those two hoses together, but that one comes from our case to the outside. This guy screws apart to empty. Well, it's supposed to anyways. There it goes. So that guy screws apart to empty it if needed. And this is a little cute little dipstick. So I'll try to put a link to this in the description. It's just a eBay catch can. I think it was like 20 bucks or something like that. Not 100% sure, but I'll make sure to add a link to that. So hopefully that'll work out for us. Now I'll get you set up in the stand here. Turn this thing over for a little bit. See if we can't get it to fire up. It's been a while. Just to see how it sounds with, let's get you up here. Just basically to see how it sounds. That's it. I want to hear it run. So, and to make sure it fires up, especially with our new head that's on there. Make sure I got our valves adjusted correctly. All right, so you know the fuel's on. We'll go ahead and turn the choke on. Make sure make sure that guy is on. Come on. Okay, so choke. All right, let's give it a little more throttle or a little more idle. Turn that screw up just a little bit. Sounds pretty good, actually. actually fired up a lot faster than it used to. I just have to pull the. Let's go ahead and shut that off right now. Actually fired up a lot quicker than it used to. Than what I remember. Actually, I used to always have to pull the throttle cable to get it to fire off, and then we were good. Choke never seemed to work. I always had to give it a lot of throttle, maybe because of the big cam and everything and the small little ports on that head. So, maybe we got something going on here. It likes the larger ports or the ported, smooth out ports in this head. I mean, who wouldn't or what wouldn't, right? So, sounds good. Everything fired up. So now, go ahead and clean up. I will see you guys in the morning. We'll load this thing in the back of that truck, go find ourselves a long road, and see if I can't break my 56-mile-an-hour top speed run. So, see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It's actually good afternoon. A little bit of a late start. No big deal. Delilah's going to come with us. She's going to do some recording and videoing. Got Seth all ready. Got his helmet in there. Got my helmet in the truck. You can see we got it all loaded up. Spent a little time this morning. Made sure it had plenty of oil in it. Got some fuel in there as well. And even added that little guy. Got it off of eBay. Just ran the wire, zip tied it along the side of our throttle cable there. Brought it up underneath. And then you wrap the other wire just around our spark plug wire there. Just a real simple tack setup. Want to see what RPMs are spinning. Already fired it up, make sure it registers, and it does. So, I'm real interested to see on how high I rev this thing while trying to hit my top speed. So, it should be a lot of fun. Like I said, we got topped off fuel. We got 116 in there. Plenty of octane. But, got these guys here. Like I said, we're all loaded up. Gonna get in the truck, go find ourselves a road. So, see you there. All right, found ourselves a nice long stretch of road. Goes way down that direction, and of course goes way up that direction. Got this guy all fired up. RPM gauge is working. I'm gonna hand you off to Delilah. Get a couple passes up the street. Get the GPS all set up. See if I can't beat my 56-mile-an-hour top speed. Hopefully, we got a ported head on it now. Got the catch can to keep oil from blowing up my back, and a nice long stretch of road. So, hand you off to Delilah. This thing's all ready. All right, here we go. doesn't gap. Why wouldn't it be on that when you... So, when was that? Right now? 51 miles an hour. Okay, well I gotta try it again. Okay, so my top speed is 56. Just got 51 now. But it feels a lot smoother.
Saw the fear in your eyes.
Oh my goodness. No, I don't want my first $20. Ooh, fix that.
Yeah, it's Forion. Dang it, man.
You're the one setting it up for me. Oh. Well, we're gonna go find ourselves another stretch of road, so, and hopefully by that time, yeah, there he is.
Guys, as cool as that, it's not registered. Don't drive it on the road for me, okay?
We'll pack it up right now.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
All right, you see, we loaded up and moved, so I'm not gonna push my luck anymore. Too bad I didn't get to break my 56 mile an hour record. I will, however, tell you this thing spins about, well, at least 8,200. I did see that on my little gauge down there. So 8,200 is cool. It feels like it runs so much smoother. I just by changing that head. Cool thing is I don't have oil blowing all over the place. You can see here, filter looks dry. Got a little bit of oil down there, so I might have to check that hose clamp, make sure it's tight, but for the most part, filter's nice and dry. Back of the frame's all nice and dry. Not blowing a bunch of oil around like it was before, so engine runs smoother, not blowing oil everywhere. Spins at least 8,200 RPMs because that's what I had it. And well, I didn't want to end our day, so brought these two up. We're in a parking lot now, and we're gonna do some donuts, or we're gonna do some drifting around this parking lot here. Maybe we'll get Delilah on there. She can kind of give it some throttle, see what it's all about. So get this thing unloaded from the truck, get it on the ground. We'll get a helmet put on Seth, let him joyride around the parking lot for a little bit. Then we'll put Delilah on there. So we'll get this thing unloaded. Be back here in a sec. All right, we got it all unloaded. Seth's got his helmet on. Just gonna do some laps around the parking lot. A little more open, right, than the front of the house, which they're redoing right now because it's all gravel. But definitely want to have some fun with this thing. Didn't want to end it too soon, so you ready, Seth? All right, bud. Tear it up. All right, now it's Delilah's turn. She's already going, I don't know how to do the brake. I don't know how to do the gas. How do you steer? So I told her, just close your eyes, twist the right. No, oh, I'm kidding. I showed her, we already got over. Brake, I just wanted to kind of cruise around, just real nice and easy. Doesn't have to get all crazy. We do have a helmet on her though, just in case, so. All right, Delilah, give it a couple little rips. Yeah, she can barely even reach the handlebars. Use the brake. Oh, so at least she knows where the brake's at. That's cool. Take it a little easier, okay?
That was scary.
Yeah, a little easier, a little less throttle, alright? This thing really only steers by sliding. That's why it kept...
Yeah, I figured that out real quick.
So, my turn.
Huh?
My turn now. Yep. How'd you like it?
Are you terrifying?
Terrifying? But it's a fun terrifying, yeah?
That's fun terrifying?
Oh, I'm glad she's having fun. Now I'm gonna put my helmet on, do a couple laps around the parking lot, then we'll load up, head back to the shop. So I'm gonna hand you off to Seth. He's gonna do some recording for me. We are back inside the shop now. got the trike out up on the stand there. Thing runs really, really good. It really likes this different head on there. The engine just feels like it runs so much more. It feels like it runs a lot smoother. Feels like it has a lot more power, but of course, how much can you tell when you're running down the street on plastic tires or the PVC sleeves over our tires? You can tell we seem to favor one side. So that one's about slid off the tire. You can see all the plastic we got left on there. So looks like we're gonna have to start practicing going the other way. So, and another neat thing to this little guy here, once the PVC got it would grip a little bit more once it got hot. So we'd have to kind of like just cruise it around for a little bit, let them cool down. After we did that, it would slide again. Gotta get some different hose clamps on these hoses here, the one in the block, or just change them. Show you here, if you can tell down in there, but just need to tighten that one up a little bit. We'll stop that. Definitely want to get, like this one wasn't too bad. It popped off once and then stayed on, just dripped a little bit of oil there. We'll get that cleaned up. Maybe figure out a way to make sure this hose doesn't pop off again. Maybe cut it off, tap it, and put a NPT with a little barb fitting on there. The block has, just to help keep those hoses on, because it's just a smooth, like a smooth finish or a smooth little nipple off the valve cover. So, but other than that, this thing did really, really good. Delilah looked like she had a lot of fun. She said it was terrifying, but a lot of fun. It was actually really fun watching her ride too. It's neat watching them have fun. Seth had a lot of fun as well. So glad we could do this. Glad we got together. Glad this thing's still in one piece, still running. So I'm gonna end that one right here. Hopefully we can find a longer stretch of road. Too bad I couldn't beat 56 miles an hour, but still 51 is still pretty quick. That's all we got recorded. And truthfully, I'll probably give it one more shot in the future, but truthfully, I think that's just way too fast on plastic tires. So, but anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Get out there, work on your projects. It doesn't matter if it's a truck, car, buggy, trike, got a go-kart floating around here somewhere. Get out there, work on your stuff, have some fun. Doesn't have to be perfect, just enjoy it. So, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Thank you to these two here for hanging out, videoing, and putting up with my, just putting up with me in general. So, again, you guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to turn on notifications. I'll catch you on the next one.